Happy Thursday, and welcome back to the You Good Podcast, the podcast where oversharing is encouraged and the thoughts get real. I'm your host, C-Rod, and this week we're talking about what happens when professional boundaries blur, emotional walls come down, and coworkers become the people who know you best. Some of the most impactful relationships in our lives, they don't start as friendships, they start at work. I'm joined by my good friend Melis Yoruk to unpack work stress, mental health, breakups, rebuilding, and what it's like navigating borderline personality disorder. Welcome to episode 31, Crossing the Line Between Work and Life. Let's get into it.
I don't wanna live where I always feel broken. I just wanna live with a heart wide open. I don't ever wanna feel fear anymore. No.
Nicholas, you're the next one heading to Vegas. Are you excited?
Yes,
Yeah.
kind of. It's been stressful. I don't ever want to commit to doing something like this 10 days before the event ever again.
That's so you've only known that you were going to this 10 days in advance?
Yeah, no, once the week we got back, so what's that? January 7th?
Yeah.
Whatever that week was. The first week of the year,
Yeah, it was like January 6th, like the working week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out that Wednesday that it was a go, and I had to register, get business cards for us, flyers. I mean, there was a whole bunch. Last week was setting up meetings for this week.
Yep.
So we can do all that stuff. So it's been a lot. I have to now be an extrovert for the next 4 days, so that also is a lot. Sober, so not looking forward to any of that. But afterwards, the craps tables, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about craps. I hope you win big money. I have not won any bets since coming back from Vegas, so I'm already talking to Preston about having to go back to Vegas to win some more money because I've tried sports betting since I left the good old MGM, and it's been all negatives for me. So
you got one more, right?
Hopefully the Hurricanes win and make me back my money because they were major underdogs, and I have some good money on them to win. So fingers crossed. Anyways, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You said going to Vegas sober. Are you nervous? Is that
No.
Have you done anything like this since you became sober?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been to like New York and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but nothing like that atmosphere, I guess. But I'm not worried about it. I am worried that I'm gonna make a shit ton of money like at the show as far as like selling our product, that I'm gonna then be like, okay, let's celebrate, and then that could lead to stuff. So like I'm hoping we do well and I just stay the course, but I don't know. Like if I make
you
what I
text
want
me
for
if
the
you get
year,
the urge and you need somebody to talk you down.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's exactly what I should do. Just go to the craps table.
Just go to the craps table, lose
Spoken
all
like
your
a
money,
true addict,
get really upset, but then that will maybe want you to start drinking because you're like, no. Anyways, today's guest is a Miami spark. Our guest and I have known we've only known each other for a few short years, but she, I don't know, I want to say has been catapulted in my life just because of her personality, of who she is, of the relationship she's formed, and just the way that she stays empathetically attached, as a human. So I'm really excited to bring her on. She can talk a lot, so she might be very long-winded in some of these conversations, but I think this will be a fun conversation that we'll see when it ends. So with that said, I wanted to introduce Melis Yoruk. Melis, welcome to the You Good podcast. We appreciate you being here, dear.
Thank you so much, Chris and Nick. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, thank you for being here.
I do talk a lot, yes, but I am unfortunately going through something called, I guess, laryngitis. So please excuse me for my death of a voice.
Did you say death or a depth?
Death of a voice. I feel like I sound like a Dementor in Harry Potter. You know, those like flying black things. If they had a voice, they would sound like me.
Okay, Melis the Dementor. Maybe that will be your
new Instagram name.
Your cover art.
Follow me.
No, your
at
I was gonna say your cover art. I was gonna go with
The
Star
cover
Wars,
art.
but maybe you'll be the Dementor.
Yeah, the Dementor. Yeah, I'm the Jedi, the Dementor. It's a Dementor, Melis.
One of the things that one of the first things I think I bought you was as a gift for doing so well in work were some Star Wars figures. I've never met a female that was so into Star Wars like you are. Where does kind of that nerd culture come in tune for you?
So that's really funny. So I had ex-boyfriend actually who introduced me into Star Wars. Because I'm a first generation Turkish American, so you can just imagine being an immigrant kid. My parents have no idea about American culture or movies or anything like that. So I knew about Star Wars, but I didn't know enough about it. And then he introduced me to it, and I surprisingly really fell in love with it. The reason why I love it, honestly, is because of the story of Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, and what love can do to a person. Because at the end of the day, I really don't think he is a villain. Because at the end of the day, he does sacrifice himself for his son, because he does find love again. And I feel like he loved Padme, and he lost himself because he wanted to save her. And in that midst, got sucked into the darkness like we all do when we're going down the spiral hole. But once he figured himself out again, and his son brought the light, right, that Padme had in his children, I think he then found love again and sacrificed himself to be with his loved one in the afterworlds, so his children can live on the Skywalker legacy. So that's why I love Star Wars. I could go into depth, but I don't want to.
That has to be the most in-depth analysis of Star Wars that I've ever heard. Nick, are you a Star Wars fan? Do you relate to anything she just said? Is that spot on if you were explaining what Star
I
Wars
never
is?
thought about Anakin that way, but it is. I mean, she's probably not wrong when I think about it. So,
I also want to add, I rewatched everything again because, like, I watched the originals, but then everyone hates 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. Well, the ones with Rey and Ben. Oh my God, why am I forgetting? Ben. I call him Ben because I think he's hot. But anyway, Adam Driver plays Ben, which is Han Solo's son. Yeah, Ben Solo, Han Solo, and Leia's son. But when everyone hates that, but I actually love that story as well, because it actually is like, speaking about generational curses, okay? I believe in that because I feel like I've broken my generational curse from my family. But I really feel like Ben was like called by his great grandfather, and he became evil, and he was in this world and darkness and spiraling like his grandfather, and then he finds love again. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same story again. So I think that's also beautiful. So people, please don't kill me. I know people hate the last 3 movies, but I think it's sick. I think it's sick.
I have only seen the original, the one with Jar Jar Binks, and the one with the red guy, Darth Maul. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have only seen those 3 probably like one time ever, and people always give me so much shit for not having a Star Wars affinity.
You either like it or you don't.
You have to. Yeah. This is the question now, guys. I'm going to ask you, Nick, because Chris, you don't know enough about it. Do you think you have to watch the series 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and then add in Mandalorian and all these other things like Andor and stuff like that? Or do you watch 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
I like showing it how I saw it. So obviously the middle are first, but watching it all the way through is interesting. I didn't show it to my daughter 1 through 9. She was the way I saw it. So I don't know. I don't think you have to see it the way we saw it. I think 1 through 9, I think, can stand on its own in sequence. The middle make a lot more sense when you know where he came from. If you know that first, then you're like, oh, okay, this is why he hates everyone and everything, and he killed a bunch of kids. And
Oh, I get it now. I can sympathize with that.
I mean, you,
Well,
you can or you can't.
I gave it a try to start to watch all of them, and I started. I think I talked to you about this, Melis, before I started. I made the decision to start with 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9, because that's the chronological order, like, of the series, right?
That's just how they were
The
made.
timeline.
That's not how they might have been intended. That's
So-
just how they were made.
It started off with 4. Okay, 4 was the first one, then 5, then 6, and then 1, 2, 3 came out. But for someone who didn't is younger than you guys and like didn't grow up watching Star Wars or have parents that like it, I watched it from 1 and on. And honestly, I think
Okay.
that is the best way.
I'm confused. Okay, so when you say A New Hope, right? That's 4? Okay,
Mhm.
so then what I'm saying is starting with 4 as okay, it's called episode 1, so I guess that makes sense. I'm saying 4, 5, 6 from movie release. So 1, 2, 3 being, New Hope and all of that, 4, 5, 6 being the Phantom Menace. But the Phantom Menace comes first storyline, right?
Phantom Menace is
Storyline-wise,
1.
right?
Phantom Menace is the first one.
Yeah.
Then the
Mhm.
second one, I
Yeah,
forgot
okay.
the name. But then my favorite one is Revenge of the Sith. I think because that's really shows you the character arc of Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader. Like that is sick.
Okay.
You were the chosen
what?
one.
You were supposed to you were supposed to defeat the Sith, not join them.
So that's
so
that's
good.
how I started watching it, was Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, but I only got through Phantom Menace and half of Attack of the Clones before I
You gotta watch Revenge of the
Wow.
maybe
Sith.
I'll restart.
Just
I-
watch
I've
Revenge
never
of the
seen-
Sith.
I've never seen Revenge of the Sith.
Did you stop on probably arguably the worst one?
Oh, I've read it all and heard it all. That those
2 is
the
probably
first 2 are
the
are
worst
bad.
one.
Yeah.
Just because it's just
So.
this lull. I mean, you get a lot of backstory, but it's so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mandalorian's sick too. Gotta watch Mandalorian.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah. I haven't watched Andor yet. I've heard great things.
So boring, season 1. So
Is it?
boring. But season 2 apparently is good, so I'm trying to get through season 1. But every time I watch episode, I'm like falling asleep. So hopefully I can get through it so I can get to the good part.
Damn.
There was an infographic, a data graphic that came out the other day that showed, and I'm switching from Star Wars into sports, right? And there was an infographic that came out the other day. Nick, as we get ready for baseball, have you seen all of the data on the Dodgers payroll?
Yeah.
Like what that equates to with just how many people they have signed to $100 million contracts and shit?
Yeah.
But have you guys heard that they're deferring payment? So these people, bro.
Yeah,
Shohei,
they're deferring $1 billion.
They're deferring, but that means they believe in the team, bro. This is why I love the fucking Dodgers, man. I have a Dodgers team.
No, you weren't supposed to say anything.
Oh,
You were. I was gonna ask Nick what fan he's like.
I mean, based off your questions, it would have been the Dodgers because.
Well, I was gonna paint the picture that she also lived in New York, and I was gonna try and throw you off.
Okay,
and
let's
think that she
redo
was
it.
a
Let's
Yankees
redo it.
fan.
Let's redo it.
No,
Just start over.
It's over.
No,
We're not
one
cutting that.
take. Everyone
take,
knows
dude.
the rules.
I got enough to edit here. We're not starting over. Anyways, she is a terrible person and a Dodgers fan.
Before all of this nonsense or now?
Before all this nonsense, so growing
Okay.
up,
I
the
got no
first
problem
game
with
I
it.
went to, like I'm from New York, so the first game I ever went to, my sister on 97.1 won tickets, like front, like bullpen, like right there tickets, from winning for the Mets. So growing up, I would
Mets
always,
Dodgers.
yeah, Mets. Yeah, so I was a Mets fan because growing up, I was like, everyone loved the Yankees. As a New Yorker, I was like, bro, why is everyone obsessed with the fucking Yankees? Like, they suck. When
Because
I
they
mean
won.
suck, no, they're great. Like, they're a great team. They play, they have some star players, A-Rod, Jeter, Judge, I mean, Juan Soto, but he left and he
You
really
just
fucking,
naming
now
a
he
bunch of
sucks.
poop. That's all it's just
But like anyway, so
poop.
then I growing up didn't know enough about baseball because like I said, I'm an immigrant kid. My parents don't even know what the fuck baseball is. So then I moved to LA for college when I was 17 and everyone was going to Dodgers games. So then I started going and I have a friend that works for them and I just started going for free all the time. And then I fell in love with the game and I fell in love with the Dodgers for one reason and one reason only. I think from all of the MLB teams, the Dodgers really, really, I'm gonna say cast because I think they're a team. Like when they're a team, they're casting a show. When you watch the Dodgers, it's a show. I laugh every time. There's Kike Hernandez who shakes his ass. There's Shohei
Oh
Ohtani
God,
who's
we
like
had
always
him.
nervous, and then there's Yamamoto who's a fucking crazy pitcher, but he's always so intensely like focused. Like when you watch them as people, they just for some reason it's like getting a dorm room, like yeah, like dorm rooms when you have roommates, but like everyone gets along, but they're different personalities, if that makes sense. But they play so
How
well
about when they
together.
How about when they dick bump each other?
That's
They do-
Kiki, dude. That's
Kike,
Just
Is that a show? Is that the show?
Enrique.
Kike.
How about that?
Yeah, Enrique
Kiki.
Hernandez, and say his name
Yeah,
right. He's my
Enrique.
favorite baseball player.
He was a Red Sox
I know.
before he was a Dodger.
Nick is a Red Sox fan.
Oh, you
He
are,
stole
yeah.
as well.
Mookie from us for no one. We
But Mookie Betts
don't even have
fucking
Jeter Downs
shines.
anymore. I
Mookie
know.
Betts shines
I love
in the
him.
Dodgers. I'm sorry, I don't think
Miss
he
him.
shined as much in the Sox.
He
But that's just my opinion.
You're right. Did he win an MVP in LA? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Don't even.
He doesn't need to though.
He didn't
doesn't
win
need to be the
an
number one.
MVP out there. He didn't do anything. He also won some rings in Boston too, but
But if you ask him, I'm pretty
Whatever.
sure he's gonna say that he's happy to
yeah, he
die at
wanted out.
Dodgers.
That's why we traded him.
Yeah.
We traded him for a reason because he wasn't
Listen,
going to resign.
Nick
Let's-
gets heated.
Anyway, I don't want to go into this. We can fight about this.
My dad was a Dodgers fan. My whole dad's side is a Dodger fan because of Vero, Dodger Town. So I've been to plenty of Dodgers game when Tommy Lasorda, like, shit, Sandy Koufax still lives down there.
Have you ever had his burrito? They have a Koufax like breakfast burrito. It's the best burrito in LA on Fairfax. It's called Koufax. You could also get a
No.
bomb ass cold brew, and they're only known for
I've
breakfast.
never been to
burritos.
LA.
Oh, okay. Then how'd you watch a
never been
Dodgers
to
game?
You just said,
Oh,
yeah. You just said you've been to plenty
Vero
of Dodgers
Beach.
games. Oh,
Vero Beach was
Vero.
their spring training facility
Oh.
forever.
I thought you
before
said
they-
Euro. I didn't realize
No,
you said
Vero.
Vero.
yeah,
I didn't know what you were saying.
Nomo, Sheffield.
don't they train in Arizona
Now,
before it was in Florida?
not. Every year was in
Oh.
Florida, down in Vero Beach.
I'll tell you, that's one of my favorite things. Living in Tampa is having Steinbrenner Field here and having the Yankees here every spring training. I hope they never leave. It's awesome.
We got no one.
You know what's funny, Nick?
In
You probably
Deltona?
don't know this, but for Chris's birthday, while the World Series was going on and the Yankees were playing the Blue Jays, this was so stupid. But I sent him a birthday present, and because I do believe in the Yankees. I do think they're a good team. I thought they were gonna make it far, but the Blue Jays were killing it this year. But anyway, I sent him a birthday present. It was a candle that writes "Smells like the Yankees won." Like light me when it smells like the Yankees won, and the Yankees lost the
And they lost.
wild
But-
card game. And I was
got to
so,
me, the Yankees were already out of the playoffs.
and then I was
just
like,
have it for whenever they win, dude. The candle might be a curse.
Well,
Oh.
when I texted her or called her or whatever to thank her for it, I assumed that it was like a joke, and I thought it was like one of those candles where like this smells like a Yankees loss or something. I don't remember. I just saw like this motherfucker sent me a Yankees candle when they just got eliminated, and before I even read it, she's like, no, it's supposed to smell good for like when they win. I'm like, oh, okay, all
That's
right.
funny. So you still have it unlit?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, because she just got it for
It's
me.
gonna stay
in
unlit forever.
This October.
It's gonna stay unlit forever.
Yo, but the Red Sox, I watched the documentary. I watched the documentary on the Red Sox, or on Netflix was it? It was about the whole beef with the Yankees and everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
they have really heated rivalry, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
For fun. Okay, side note, for fun on YouTube,
They're in
I
the
watched
same division.
MLB rivalries and like how like the Dodgers and the San Diego Padres and their beef and all the beef between, and then the fights, and when someone gets mad, everyone jumps on like from the bullpen, everyone starts like sizing each other up. It's like so funny because it's like whose dick's bigger contest, but no one really does anything. You know what I mean? It's like
Back in the day, they did.
Fuck you.
Back
There's a
but-
bunch of shoving now, but back in the
Yeah,
day, ooh,
back in the
Nolan
70s
Ryan,
and the
Robin
80s.
Ventura.
Oh yeah,
That is my favorite one to this day. Old man drills Ventura and then just punches him in the face
Yeah.
over and over again. Oh yeah.
They used to fist fight and there was no really big repercussions until you
I
started.
know
getting
they
into
go
the-
back out to pitch. He still
Yeah.
stayed in the game after beating the fuck out of Robin.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, bloody. They're out there bloody on the mound.
Yeah, blood
Just
all
looks
over
like
his
a-
jersey.
yeah.
He ended up
Yeah,
throwing like 2 or 3 more innings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard baseball before, like even Babe Ruth was like a coke addict or drunk or something. I heard
A lot
ML
of
like
coke in the 80s.
yeah, I heard baseball
lot
was
of
like
coke
a
in the 80s.
delinquent game. It was like all the players were on drugs and alcohol, and they would fight and all do these things. And look where we are now.
Doc
Nick,
Gooden.
who? I was just gonna say that's the guy. He took LSD or ass or whatever.
Oh no no!
right before he went
I
to
know
pitch?
that guy.
No.
I know that. I forgot his name.
It wasn't Doc.
No no.
It was the Red
Oh,
Sox. No,
God.
wasn't he? Didn't he
He
play
was.
for the Red Sox?
Yeah. Why am I having a brain fart?
I know who you're talking
No, the-
about. I watched him talk about it on YouTube about and then
Mhm.
he hit a perfect game. No, was it?
Oh,
it
it's
wasn't like-
Doc Ellis. Doc Ellis for the Pirates, a no hitter in
Pirates.
1970.
Yeah, he killed it. He killed it.
Yeah, he threw a
We-
no
we
hitter.
got
Ellis.
Dave-
That's when
David
nobody
Wells'
hits the ball.
perfect
know.
game hung over.
Who?
Didn't he throw the perfect game wearing Babe Ruth's hat?
Maybe. He was
I think he
hungover.
got-
I know he was
I-
hungover.
So one of the Yankees threw a perfect game, I believe, with Babe Ruth's hat, and then got fined like $50,000 by MLB or whatever for not wearing the correct uniform, or something like that. I don't know.
I was also gonna say,
Anyways.
guys, I have a signed baseball by Miguel Rojas, who hit the home run for Game 7 that got the Dodgers to win. Because my really good friend's cousin is married to him. And I told him, I said,
Nice.
I need it. So anyway, I've been moving and I've been moving my stuff. So I've been really admiring that ball. And I can't wait to pass it down to my kids one day.
My uncle has our Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron baseball.
That's sick.
Yeah. Yeah. My great grandpa met Babe Ruth, and then man, back in like 1920, and then him and my dad in the 70s got Hank Aaron to sign it. But it was one of the first ones before David Wells, before
Wow.
any of the other ones. Yeah.
Are you gonna
Oh my
get that
God.
one day?
I don't know. It's really up to my uncle, I guess, because so my dad died before my great grandpa, and it was left to my dad and my great grandpa's will. So I'm not sure how uncle ended up with it, but
You need to make sure that stays in the family.
no, dude, yeah, I know. I'm doing my best.
Anyways, we could talk sports all day. Nick and I, and Melis, I think it's amazing to have a female voice to talk sports. I don't mean that in any belittling way, but men talk baseball sports more than females do, so it's always refreshing. But I do want to start with a rotational opener for this episode. We've got away from it over the last few just because they were kind of outside the scope of topic. End of the year, Christmas debauchery, New Year's, but here we are, and I wanted to open this episode with what's been feeding your soul. Melis, if you are familiar, we try to throw in mental health rotational openers to start every episode, getting the listeners thinking, getting the guests thinking. I know this is kind of out of nowhere for you, but this is something that's positive or grounding or small that has helped you lately. Something that has just been keeping your mind focused and mind driven.
Yeah,
What's
so
been feeding your
something
soul?
what's been feeding my soul lately is I'm actually currently trying to get out of depression, something that I've been battling with. And right now, it sounds crazy, but as a female, makeup. So getting up and putting on makeup, where I don't know why I'm forcing myself to do it because I'm also realizing now I'm better. Like I am way better than I was a month ago. But putting on that makeup makes me feel confident. I don't know. I like myself. It's really helped. It's like enhancing me. Like it's not that I don't like myself without it. I do, but it's like, I don't know. I put on makeup. I put on a nice outfit. Even if I'm staying at home and working or not just walking my dogs. My sister put me on that actually. Because my sister, for some reason, always, even though she's home all the time, puts on some makeup, always looks like presentable. And she feels great about herself. So I tried it. And this past week I've been doing it and it really does help me. Like it makes me feel
Yeah.
like I'm ready to go. I'm gonna take on the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
That's
love that.
awesome.
Nick's example of that is making his bed each morning, right? And just having that routine to get him out of that funk. So I think that kind of translates. Nick, what's been feeding
100%.
your soul?
Um, the gym, I guess. The only thing that's kept me somewhat sane the last 10 days, just trying to stay consistent there.
Yeah.
Uh,
You've been busy. You've talked about a lot that you have going on, and I was going to tell you that you can't say nothing. So I'm glad you chose the gym as some sort of consistency.
oh, nothing was next. I was gonna say stress, but that's not really feeding. If anything,
Yeah.
it's taking away.
For me, I think the last episode or the episode before, I told you that one of my goals this year was to strive to make $200,000 just at work. And one of the things that has been feeding my soul lately is a new sense of purpose. I think it was even last episode where I told you I was in a little bit of a motivation hangover, right? The whole name of the episode. And just kind of after we got off that episode and that recording, you had said some things, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. It is time to like buckle down and pull my bootstraps up. And I went and started some things around work that I'm very excited for. I've been very driven in accomplishing them, and I think that working through some of these opportunities that are in front of me will kind of help lead me to that goal. So it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
been a refocused vision just within a week, 10 days of that conversation that we had.
that's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that kind of transitions Melis into, before we get into the first segment, I know that one thing that fed your soul, at least previously, was, movies and acting. And we talked a little bit about, your acting career, and we can get into this deeper later on if we want. But, you mentioned moving to LA when you were younger. Talk to me about the acting side of Melis and where that love and hunger comes from, and maybe what you're doing with that right now.
Yeah, for sure. So since I was a kid, I would put on shows for my parents, and my sister would be like the light person and the prop person, and I always liked performing, right? So anyway, I really did like reflect, and as I got older, to try to understand why I love playing other people so much. And these are the reasons why that I come. These are the reasons I came up with, basically. So one, I think it is beautiful that people can get, because okay, in the world, people really don't actually travel as much as they should, or learn about other people as much as they should, or get outside of their comfort zones as much as they should. So I think it's a beautiful form for people to sit in their homes and get insight and learn something new, right? Someone's story is being told. I think that's beautiful because everyone has a story. Whether it's yours, Chris, whether it's Nick's, whether it's mine, we have a story to be told. Now, it depends if, studios make it, or if a director wants to direct it, or if a writer writes the story. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own story, and we're watching their story. So that's so beautiful to me, because think about it. Also, I'm super I'm an open-minded person. So I also grew up in New York, by the way, guys. I think you brought it up, Chris. So I'm very, very blessed to be a first-generation American. My parents are Turkish, and I grew up in a very, very diverse city. So I grew up knowing a little bit of language from every language, and eating everyone's food, and seeing people that don't look like me. Like, that's normal to me. But when you really look at the world, and it's kind of sad, the world, I'm not saying just the US, I'm saying the world, people usually stay in a box what they're comfortable with. So I think it's beautiful that someone could be sitting in their home in, I don't know, Virginia or West Virginia or something, or the Appalachian Mountains that probably don't leave the Appalachian Mountains, and they're watching Mulan, for example, and saying, wow, I didn't know that, or watching something about Chinese heritage. I don't fucking know. I know, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm using that as an example. It's probably a horrible example, but I think that's beautiful. Two, another topic I think we are going to go into.
You're not allowed to live in Virginia or West Virginia and watch Mulan, according to Melis.
No, you can. You should. That's what I'm saying.
Not allowed.
But that was horrible. But I don't know. I could go into depth. Like, The Marriage Story is a beautiful movie where Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver do such an amazing depiction of what it's like to be in love, but then that love, be married, have a kid, and that love dissipate. Right? And you actually start hating each other, and how a divorce works, and how you're trying to work through, but it's not working. That's also beautiful. People can relate to that. You know what I mean? And that's okay. So one is seeing people other stories. Two is relating to people. Like, I don't know. When I was going through a breakup in the past, I watched a series called One Day, and it's so sad. But watching it and seeing a similar love story and then unravel, and friendship and everything, helped me grieve. Right? Because you're able to then let it out through someone else's story. And then three, we're going to go into mental health and stuff. I know we talked about it, but like I said, I struggle with some mental health stuff. And I realized that whenever I could not be me is great. Because whenever I'm me, I have to sit with my own thoughts. I have to sit with Melis. I have to deal with my traumas. I got to deal with my things. I got to deal with X, Y, and Z. But when I get to play another character, everything's gone. Melis doesn't exist anymore. I'm playing Chris Rodriguez. You know what I mean? Now I'm Chris Rodriguez. Oh. Melis is gone. So those are the three reasons why.
Don't take my job.
No. But you said about LA. No, I won't. But you said LA. I moved there I went to Cal Arts. It's a private art school in California, in Southern California. It's 30 minutes away from main LA. It's in Santa Clarita. And that's why I moved there. To be honest, as a New Yorker, it was a big culture shock because it's just so different. People say they're fake. Now, after leaving LA and moving to Miami and living in New York, Miami, and LA, California people aren't fake. They're just California people. They're raised in a way that they're not comfortable saying exactly what they feel. For example, I had girlfriends, right? So we would go to the mall and my girlfriend would try something on. And she would be like, what do you think, Melis? And I would be like, oh, those look bad on you. No, try something else on. And I lost friends. That girl stopped talking to me. And I remember being like, what? I'm being a good friend. I'm not supposed to let my friend leave, buy something that doesn't look good on them. But that's the best way I can depict LA people for you, honestly, because then I started taking a step back. You're not, they really do go by. If there's nothing nice to say, don't say it. And you telling them that it doesn't look nice to them isn't being not nice, right. If that makes sense. So it's just a different culture. It's just different, So you gotta...
Do you...
Go on.
Do you think that's more of an East Coast personality that you brought with you to the West Coast? That just New York and the Northeast are a lot more upfront people, and that's something you learned being in LA.
100%. Like I didn't know that. Like I always heard, like because we would watch movies, and people would always talk about New Yorkers being rude and all this stuff, and I really don't think we are. I think we're very nice. We are cynical, I would say, but very straightforward. And yeah, like I remember my first experience. Okay, I'm in school. It's the second week I'm in college. I'm 17 years old, by the way. I went to college when I was 17.
Early,
Anyway,
that's early.
yeah, because my birthday's in October, so it was a month later. I turned 18. Anyway, so I'm in. So my friend has a car. Where I meet some friends from the dorms and everything, and we go to McDonald's. It's the morning. We're gonna get breakfast, and it's like 11:02 or something, and we're going through the drive-through, and the breakfast menu is still up. And we're gonna order, and then the lady on the end, the McDonald's employee, says, "Oh, we're not serving breakfast anymore." And then I said, "Well, why do you have the breakfast menu up? That's false advertising. Like, you have to serve me breakfast, or else you should have taken this down. Like, I don't care." And whatever. So then everyone in the car is silent. Everyone's silent, okay? Everyone's silent. Everyone's like, "Oh my God," like scared of me or something. And I'm like, and then the lady on the end from the speaker goes, "I'm sorry, but," like, she's scared of me. And I'm like, "Oh my God," like, and I remember being like, "Wait, am I a bad person? Like, I don't mean to be mean. It's just, this is false advertising." Then it made me realize that in New York, we say what it is. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, when you get into Brooklyn, it says forget about it. Like, that's how we are. We say what it is what it is. And in New York, if I said that, the lady on the other end would have either cursed me out, said, "Well, fuck you, this is the way it is. You want to order lunch or not?" And I would respect that. I would be like, "Hell yeah. All right, fine. I'm going to get a fucking McChicken, bitch." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's when I realized that that's the difference. Like in New York, people are not afraid to say how they feel or they're not afraid of it, because no one, like, what's the worst? It's no one cares. You know what I mean? Like, who are you? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I realized.
Yeah. No, it's definitely different worlds in California and New York. It's crazy that you've also lived in Miami. Like, I feel like those are like the three, melting pots of different cultures, and you've kind of put them all in one. And I think the transition, and I guess we'll get into this this brings us into how this whole friendship actually started, was at work. Talk to me about the transition from coming back to Florida and then also getting out of acting and translating all of these things that you have picked up in acting and bringing them into a sales role, right? Did you feel, and I guess do you, because you're still trying to juggle acting while also being in sales, do you feel like there's a lot of your self that you're putting in a box and like holding back because you're not doing acting and you're in sales? Or do you still feel, I guess, a guideway there into how you can be yourself?
So, okay. When I was in LA, I got a little upset. So I moved to Miami because one, that's a whole nother topic. Let's not get into that. Wow. Okay. Okay. Let me get into it a little bit. Don't take this the wrong way. Whatever.
You can get into it
so
or not.
I
It's
grew up. So I'm Turkish American, right? I grew up. I'm first generation. When I was growing up in New York, even though it's a very diverse place, there's obviously some people that are very closed-minded. I'm not going to name what kind of cultures or what kind of people, but there are still closed-minded people. When 9/11 happened, as you know, Turkey is a Muslim country, but there is Jews and Christians that do live in Turkey, and there is a wide population of those religions that are in Turkey. Like, it's normal to see churches, mosques, and synagogues. Like, that's not uncommon. But it is a Muslim country, so most of the population is Muslim. So I was raised Muslim, right? Am I like, people in America don't realize that Muslims are like similar. I feel like when they think of Muslims, they think of like terrorism, 9/11, like horrible people.
Sure.
But Muslims are just like Christians, just like Jews, just like Catholics. We got the people that really follow it, the people that kind of don't, the people that just do it because their parents taught you, or the people that just believe in God and say I'm Muslim because it's their culture. So like, I'm someone that has the faith, but also as just because my family is it, I consider myself that, right? And I also do believe in God, and that's just my way of believing in God because that's what I was taught. But I also did read the Bible and the Torah, and that was my decision. So I do know a lot about other religions. I'm educated. I'm not
Mm,
educated. So anyway,
sure.
so when
I
nine
mean,
eleven
that's
happened,
amazing.
yeah. So when 9/11 happened, the closed-minded people were really, really closed-minded and shut me out, and that's when the bullying happened, and people didn't let me in their homes anymore, and it was a really hard, tough time for me. And I was 5 years old when that happened. So the only people that did accept me in New York were the minorities, actually, people of color, to be honest. So because of that, I was really in my neighborhood. The people of color, the minority people in my neighborhood were predominantly Dominican and Puerto Rican people. So all my friends were Dominican and Puerto Rican. I had many other friends. I had Chinese friends, Russian friends, Ukrainian friends, Georgian friends. I had so many friends, but like the ones that were like homie and family to me were Hispanic people, but Caribbean to be
Yeah.
exact. So when I moved to LA for college, I realized that LA was not as diverse as New York. Like it is kind of, I really do describe it this way, segregated. Like neighborhoods, you'll go to one neighborhood and it's all, predominantly Mexican people. You go to one neighborhood, predominantly Filipino people. You go to another neighborhood, it's predominantly students that go to UCLA. Like it's literally like Persians in this area and really rich people here, really poor people here. It's like really like cut up. So I didn't really like that at all because for me it was weird. Like if I'm living in Westwood, I only predominantly see white people. It was weird. Like I was like, why isn't it mixed? Or don't I see,
Yeah.
it was weird for me. So I wasn't really happy about that. So then, so like I said, I love Latin culture because I grew up, it was like my second culture. And then I first wanted to move to Puerto Rico, but then my sister was like, no, let's move to Miami because we talked about both options because I wanted to learn Spanish more and really be fluent. And I moved here and actually I'm like almost fluent, honestly. Like it really did help. So that was the reason why I moved here. But moving here now, I've realized, guys, I do consider myself a conservative person, but I'm a conservative liberal. Like living in Miami is not for the weak. Like it really was a humbling experience. I know we're talking about politics now. I'm not afraid to. I wear my heart
You're
on my
talking
sleeve.
about politics. I'm gonna segue this in a different direction in a second.
Sorry. You can cut this
because
out.
we've
Let me
already
start
sta-
over. Let me
we've
start
already
over.
st-
Let
No,
me
we
start
don't.
over.
No, again, we don't have to cut anything out.
No.
We don't get into politics.
Okay, so let's not get into politics. Let me tell you the acting part.
You're
So
you're
I
good.
was,
You're good with where you're going. I was just gonna push you in a different direction.
yeah, I love all people. Okay, whatever. So let me go into the acting. So in LA, like I said, it's different. It's not as diverse or whatever. The acting world in LA got me upset because I'm Turkish American, but I'm white. I'm white. I have green eyes. But I would go into auditions, and literally the feedback would be like they would put me in an audition for a Caucasian role, which I am Caucasian, so that's great. But I would be in the room, and the feedback I would be getting would be like, "Ah, she's white, but like she doesn't really look like white, So then my manager was like, okay, let's put you into ambiguity, like ambiguous. It's called ambiguous when they put it like a casting call, which means like we don't know who we want to put as a part yet. So give us all the cultures, right? That's what the casting director is saying. So I would go into that audition and then I'm too white for that audition. So it's like, the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm too white for that, but then I'm too not white for the white roles. So it was really hard for me because if you guys are not in the acting world, but it has changed. It was very white for a very long time, and then they started opening it up to people of color, and now there's a lot of Latin movies, and now there's Asian movies.
Oh, we've seen it. We see the commercials. We see the remakes. We see it all.
Yeah,
we might not be in the movies, but we see it.
Yeah, so I mean, I have other opinions for that, but the point I'm trying to make is like, I just got angry because I was like, yo, like, fuck you. Like, you guys don't ever put me in anything. I mean, I was in a couple of things, but then I moved here because I was like, one, it's cheaper. Two, I could still audition from here. Now, you're talking about sales. I want to get into that. So that's why I moved here. But sales. How did I get into sales? So, my XXX was...
I told you, Nick, it could go on and on and on.
The X's keep going on. Anyway, so...
No!
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll stop. But you asked, I was going to tell you how I got into sales, but okay.
I know you're right where I want you to be, Melis. We are here now, right? We are here in how we met. Let's skip about how you got into sales, and let's talk about more of okay, you are a very social person, right? Talk to me about your experience with managers before me and maybe even after, to where how do you decide that place of management to feeling comfortable to talk about things outside of work and getting that relationship past management? Do you feel like you do that often?
No. With you specifically. So my first manager was like a really nice guy, but he really didn't care about me. I was the top performer. So this is when I realized it. So I started sales and I was really good at it. So I was a top performer. And then I realized when you're a top performer, you can kind of get away with things because they really were not micromanaging me. They didn't it's like I didn't exist. I just was doing my job. And my manager was like my friend. Like whenever I was performing I was the top performer. He's like really nice to me. But like, let's say in the beginning of the month, I'm not there yet. I would always get there, and Chris knows that. Like maybe the first 2 weeks I don't have anything, but the last 2 weeks I'm banging it out, right? So let's say those first 2 weeks, he would start being mean to me, or being like not nice, like being like really like cold. So then I realized, I was like, damn, like okay, when you're really performing well, everyone loves you, but when you're not, no one cares. Like everyone's like, you're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's where you're at, right?
You're a number to them.
You're a number. Exactly. I realized I was a number. So when I moved to XYZ company that we're not going to name, and I met you, Chris,
It's Glass
I don't know.
Fox. Nobody knows that.
Oh, I can say it? Okay. Glass Fox. So
it's not like it's Google or something.
Yeah, when I first met you, I got hired, and I was going to start like a week or 2 weeks later. Chris reached out to me on LinkedIn saying, hey, like, I'm your manager, like, super excited to blah, blah, blah. And I immediately was like, oh my God, this guy really cares about his team. That was the first instinct I got. Was like, oh my God, he cares about, like, me as an individual. He wants me to feel welcomed. I was like, that's awesome, because, like, that's not his job. He doesn't have to do that. That's HR's job. So, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay. And then I got in, started working. And I don't know, something about Chris, like, he made me feel comfortable. Like, he read between the lines. Like in the beginning, because I'm really hard on myself. And I didn't know I was hard on myself till Chris brought it up. Like I would freak out, and I was comfortable enough to tell him. Because at first I didn't tell him like everything about my life, but I was like telling him about me, like my personality, or like, oh, I'm freaking out. Or like, I don't know if you remember Chris. And Chris would like be like, Melis, calm down. Like it's okay. Like to take it aside. And he would laugh. And like he was like super chill about it. So, and then he would ask about us. Like we would have group meetings, and he would ask, and one-on-ones, he would ask, how are you? Like what's going on? Like he really genuinely cared about you as an individual. Because I think this also goes into this podcast. You can tell Chris cares about mental health, and he cares about people where they are. And at the end of the day, really, your mental health matters. How you're going to do at your job too. So he cared about that. So then I started opening up more, and he was welcoming, no judgments, just love, care, and how can I help you? Even though, like, it was like, you're my manager, why are you helping me with life? Like, he started helping me with life. And then we moved our friendship from Slack to telephone and friendship and hanging out
Slack
and all
to
that
texting.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's... Nick, I don't know. I don't think you manage people right now, but, have you in your career had to manage people? Oh, you do currently?
Yeah. No, I'm in charge of all manufacturing, so... There's a whole sign division. I manage quite a few people.
So what's your take, and have you ever taken a management position and formed more outside of a working relationship and formed friendships, or are you one to be like, work is work, life is life. I have my work friends, I have my life friends, and they, it doesn't intermingle. What's your take on that?
I try not to. So the answer is yes. I've crossed the line quite a few times, and now because of it, I kind of not tried to get too close with my subordinates, because
and why?
As far as like outside of work, like I'm okay, like work, I'll be your best friend, but I'm not gonna go to the bar with you or hang out because when I have to fire you or I have to discipline
Damn.
you, you don't take it the way you're supposed to. Like it's work, right? Like it's not me coming at you personally. I like you
Yeah.
personally, but your work ethic sucks. So I have to tell you, like, hey, we have to do this. And then you get mad because we're friends. And I'm like, well, yeah, we're friends, but that's outside of
Okay.
here, right? Like,
But so you might be friends, but you're still their boss. And I
mm-hmm,
don't, I've definitely had to go to Melis at times and be like, hey, you're doing this wrong, right? Or you did this wrong. Let's fix it. And here's how, give them a solution. Melis, I don't know, did you ever feel, I don't know the word is the word is I'm looking for, but did
No,
you
I
ever feel
never
that
felt that
because
way.
we were friends, you didn't like think that I was in a position of being your boss? Like, did you ever look at it as like, I know that I don't know the right words because yes, we're colleagues. I tell people we're colleagues. We're all in the same organization. We're working towards a problem. Um, but yes, at the same time, like I am your boss and I am your manager and I have people that I have to report to and we have things that we need to get done. Does that make sense?
So yeah, no, I never did because okay, something I've realized. By the way, guys, I'm 29. I'm turning 30 this year. Woohoo! Anyway, now I've learned. Now at 29, I have learned that not everyone at my age has common sense. Not everyone at 21 has
mm-hmm.
common sense. Not everyone at 24 has common sense. Not everyone at 45 has common sense. Now this to
Common
me is
sense ain't
common
common.
sense. It ain't. It fucking ain't. So this leads to me with you, Chris, because I have a very strong sense of self and common sense. I really do. So I never got insulted or hurt when Chris said, "Hey, Melis, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You're doing this wrong. Fix this." Because
Mm-hmm.
he is my boss, right? Common sense. Now, if he had to fire me, I still would not be upset because I have common sense. Maybe I did do something wrong, maybe, and we are friends. Maybe he did vet for me or not, but it doesn't matter. It's work. There's people above. There's things that I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about. We don't know. Like at the end of the day, when you do get fired or something does get told to you, sometimes it might not be Chris's opinion, right? It might be the
Right.
CFO or the VP. Like you don't ever know. So you really, if you have common sense and a good sense of self, you understand that this is work and my friendship is separate. But like I said, not everyone is actually mature enough to understand that they have that common,
Yeah.
common sense. So I can imagine it depends also on how long you've lived life or what you've been through, right? So maybe some of the people you're working with, Nick, haven't seen the life way I have that can't, differentiate friendship and work or can't understand hierarchy or decisions and then it could be blurry. I can see that can be for sure blurry.
Yeah, and that that's also been in the past. Where I'm at currently, I think like for my birthday, I invited a lot of my coworkers and I invited everyone, So it's not like I live by that, but like a
Mm-hmm.
lot like you said, a lot of the younger people can't differentiate that. So like I said, most of it's like
Yeah.
subordinates, and even then it's like, hey, like if you can differentiate, we'll be cool. But if you can't, I'm cool with not going out with you. I mean, it
Yeah.
sucks, but I mean, I'll play trivia with or without you. So
Yeah.
if
Well,
you want to be part of the trivia team,
I've even had it to like where we have a company all get together and maybe we'll go out as a team. We'll have a team event where we're drinking, we're having fun, and I've even had experiences where the team is like, "Hey, Chris, we're gonna go now out to this bar or we're gonna go to this club," and I'm like, "This is where I'm gonna go back to the
yep.
hotel." I'm not saying I don't want to go out and be with you, but you guys go be a team. I am your manager. We did our team event. Go out, be safe, don't get crazy, don't get too drunk. We got to be up at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Be there. Like
Somebody's
that's
gonna
all I'm
bail us
telling you
out.
now. Yeah, you know. So that's where I think there is a way to separate the manager employee line. Uh, I just, I very early on, I felt like Melis, to where I was treated like a number, to where there were, and not even like my direct managers, but people above them, to where I felt like even if you fired me, like, you didn't care. If I made you money, you cared. If I didn't make you money, you didn't care. But in between that, you didn't care what was going on. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Simon Sinek. I know Melis is now, but there's a guy who I fell into early into my career, where he teaches thought leadership and leading, by example. And Nick, coming from sports and a sports background, right? You don't really want to follow a coach that just tells you to do things but doesn't show you how to do it, right? Or doesn't give you examples like, this is how you do it. It's just like, oh, go figure it out yourself. Well, for me, I like to treat my employees that I bring in as like, hey, I am going to try and work through this life experience with you. They always say at times you're going to talk to people at work more than you talk to your family, right? Because you're with them more hours of the day. We're going to experience this stressful situation together. How do we get through it? Things might change on a dime, especially in sales or, manufacturing operations. I'm sure you're the same way, where it's like, okay, now we all have to work together to meet some crazy need of some C-level executive. And I've always put that into the way that I manage people of like, hey, you are not individuals to me. We are a team. If I have to fire you, that's my fault, right? I've failed at some way. And Melis has even had the example of I got laid off. I got fired out of nowhere. So, I have this team of 16 and we're hitting a stride. Everything's well. I'm telling them all of these things that I'm being reported on. And the next day they're like, oh, Chris got let go. You now have no manager, but half of your team got let go. Good luck. Go figure it out. We don't have a replacement for him. We don't know who's going to manage this team, but now you're kind of on your own, which we told you we were a family. You know what I'm saying? There's one line that I will never cross, and that is just, the sexual line. One time in my life, have I ever hooked up with somebody at work and I ended up being engaged to that person and have a baby? It's Kelsey. Kelsey and I met at work.
Where you eat, dude.
We weren't managers. We were just colleagues.
It doesn't matter.
I'm just saying. One time in my life it happened, and it
No.
it worked out. I got a kid out of it, but
yes,
we're not together anymore.
No.
Yeah, I've never done that.
That's the one line.
No, I'm good on all that. Most of my coworkers are dudes anyway, so there are females.
You don't like butt stuff?
Nah, hard pass. I don't like hairy donuts either, so.
Jesus.
Yeah, you know what's crazy in sales, I realized, because I worked for mostly San Francisco-based companies before I came to Glassbox. I would say Glassbox is New York-based, but it's Israel, but whatever. Anyway, they really do hook up with each other. Like, I would go to sales kickoffs. These motherfuckers so all of our, like, everyone's like chilling in each other's hotel rooms. Everyone's getting fucked up. And then you find out this person hooks up with this person. You know what's funny? I had a friend who tried to hook up with me. Not hook up, but you could tell he was interested in me. And I was like, okay, you gotta go now. Like, bye, like, whatever. And then I was like, hey, like, we're just friends. And now we're really good friends. And like, he's engaged, right? With someone else. But like, I noticed that in sales though, like with SDRs and especially SDRs. I don't think AEs, I don't know, because I wasn't in AE for a San Francisco company.
They're even worse. Because they have more money.
Yeah, and then they do, like, they're doing a shit ton of drugs together and everyone's hooking up with everyone. It was very weird for me, and I am like you, Chris. Like, I did not, like, I did go and drink and have fun with them, but when it started getting into a line of, like, I'm sorry, I don't even know you. Like, you don't need to know if I do drugs or not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm working with you, too. I don't think you should know me. But when it comes to Chris, it was different. Like, I never crossed that line because, not about, guys, I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about in general, like, my life and really digging deep. But, yeah, he just made me, I guess.
Cross the line with drugs.
No, yeah, I did.
Remotely. So Melis, I guess this is one of the last few questions that I want to ask just on this topic is, the company that we were at was a very toxic environment. There was a lot thrown at us. There was not good leadership. Not I'm not talking about our team directly. My manager was great and I managed you guys, but I'm just talking about from a company standpoint. Do you think that toxic environments force a quicker bond? Do you think that might have forced it, or maybe it was just because of what you were going through in your life? But I don't know what caused you to kind of open up the way that you did and form the relationship that we formed.
I think it's many things. I think one, it could have been because I was new to a city, and I also was alone, right? So I was going through things kind of alone, and then the toxic work environment. So now I have some toxic stuff
Mm.
in my life that's going on, and then I have this toxic work environment, and I'm from New York, right? So like I just had I'm a big person. I have to let things out. Either I'm saying it or writing it down. Like I can't keep it in. So yeah, it was a toxic work environment, and I think that also might have brought us together, but I don't think it's just those things. I do think it's your energy because you, like you said, like you were always transparent with us. Like you were never like other managers will be like if they're doing a bad job, they'll never admit it. You know what I mean? They won't be like, hey, I've been sick for a week, I'm feeling down, I haven't been working that much because I'm dying. You know what I mean? Like Chris would say that. Like he would be like, "Hey guys, like I'm really trying." Like he would admit like things like
Accountability.
accountability for like we're human, bro. We're fucking human. Like sometimes we get sick, sometimes we go through divorces, sometimes we go through breakups, sometimes we go through X, Y, and Z. Like our life does bleed into work, and it might make you maybe have a temper for a second or get annoyed or and that's okay. But like the Chris made me feel like he was open to share and hold accountability for himself. So then I was comfortable enough to be like, hey, fuck this CEO, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? And then also saying, fuck this person in my personal life. And yeah, I'm going through this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck them.
I think press the button, Nick. Press the button.
Fuck you.
That's Nick's latest soundboard bite. You'll be hearing that more often.
Nice.
So, Melis, we talked about the environment. We talked about the connections. Whether it's crossing a boundary or not. If you ask people that are professional, we probably did. If you ask people who are human, it's like, no, you're creating that connection. But I think the stress follows us outside of the office, and we started talking about a lot of things that were going on outside of work that were contributing to maybe how you were feeling during the day or during the work. But I think one moment that we really kind of took the next level is when you first told me about I don't know, do we call it a disorder that you had, right? Because you're like, oh yeah, this might be going well, but I have this and I'm seeing the doctors and, it's maybe having me think in a different way. Now I have confused this for bipolar disorder, and I apologize, when it is correctly borderline personality disorder. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me. I want to talk about one, first the differentiators, but I want to talk about how it is to navigate work and life and relationships with just also having this overarching disorder that, affects you from a mental perspective.
Yeah, so I got diagnosed when I was, I think, 23 or 24. But before then, I got diagnosed with impulse control disorder because they don't want to diagnose kids with BPD because they don't believe that until you're like fully an adult, you should be diagnosed. I think after 21, they feel more confident saying it. What a little bit about what it is, because you said differentiators too. So borderline personality disorder basically is you have to have 7 categories of certain things that you feel or do for you to have it. Like one is constantly feeling empty inside, fear of abandonment, impulsivity, and like impulse control problems, right? Impulsivity, whether it's drugs, gambling, or impulsively speaking, which I do have that, right? Like I impulsively just say what I feel. And then why am I blanking right now? Dissociation I do not have. Actually, I do a little bit, but not really. That one I don't have that much. But you have to have. There's 7 of them. You have to have like more than like about five or more. Then you have it. Um. Anyway, differentiators with bipolar. Oh, and then emotions, intense emotions. So the way BPD works, this is what it is. So you have the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, right? The prefrontal cortex is the place in your brain that where you feel things. So let's say Chris is my manager. Let's make it an idea that this never happened. This is just a make-up scenario. Chris is my manager. We're working together, and Chris says to me, Melis, you're doing a really bad job, and you got to do this way. And he doesn't give any context.
That's Nick.
He doesn't.
That's how Nick talks.
Let's just say maybe, yeah. So let's say he says it that
say
way.
Nick is your manager in this scenario.
Okay, Nick. Nick is my manager, and Nick says to me, Melis, you suck. You're not doing well. That's it. Like that's all he says. Okay. So let's all say that, right? So for me taking that way. Because what happens is there's a connection. Imagine the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. When you feel it in emotion, right, from that, he said you suck. Immediately you'll feel it in the prefrontal cortex, and you'll be like, oh my God, I feel hurt. You're hurt, right? You feel sad and you're hurt right now because someone said you sucked. A normal person's brain will have that interaction with the amygdala, is where the amygdala processes the emotion. So that's where then you could say, okay, well, Nick did say he was going through a divorce, which he's not. I'm just saying, the made up scenario. He is going through a divorce and his custody battles and all these things. Like, damn. He did say that he really had a bad game baseball this past couple of weeks and he's fucking not doing well or whatever. And I know that. Or he did say, or the company is doing some stupid shit to us and maybe he's upset about that. So he had to take it out on me. Let's just say whatever it is, I can't make that connection. So I live in the emotion. So like he said, I suck. I'm going to sit there and be like, I fucking suck. And I'll cry. I'll be like, fuck, I suck. And I can't think of anything else. I can't think of why I suck or why did he say it. But then after the emotion's done, right? Like maybe like, I would say like 30 minutes after because you can't cry for longer than I think it's like 5 minutes actually. But I would say mine lasts like 30 minutes. After that, but it took years of therapy. Like now it's at 30 minutes. Before it was hours. But like now I could like be like, okay, Melis, let's think, right? But it takes a lot of work. So if you don't know, the first step is getting diagnosed. The second step is learning about the disorder. And the third step is understanding how can you really break it. So that's basically what BPD is. And you asked me another question. What did you want me to answer? There was something you asked. I'm sorry.
Well, let me know. I appreciate you sharing that. Let me ask this question. Why choose, right? So you chose very stressful work environments, acting, very stressful. People are judging you, like you mentioned in your story before, judging you based on what you look like, your heritage, whatever. I'm looking for more white, less white, whatever it is. But then you also chose tech sales, which is a very hard game. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of people judging you based on your activity. Doesn't workplace stress amplify these health challenges? And, have you ever thought about going into industries or areas that maybe were a little less stressful? Or is it just that your cultural identity, your personal identity, like these are just, you want to be extroverted out there and just navigate the mental health aspect of it?
Okay, so this is really funny. So I actually love the science behind BPD and stuff. So actually BPD, what happens is it's from traumatic experiences when you're a child where your parents you went through something where your emotions were not regulated. So you don't know how to regulate your emotions. That's basically what it is, right? At the end of it. And these comes from like different ways, fear of abandonment, emptiness, all these different things. So now where that comes, I then did the homework of like, because I wanted to understand this, right? Now I did realize this when I wasn't fully actively recovering, like fully, the sales was familiar to me because I love chaotic environments and it makes me feel like I'm at home. But it does cause me stress, right? It does cause my BPD to go like, because I do second guess myself and I'm like really like stuff happens. But I did realize that the reason why I was so hooked to it was for these reasons. One, my family made me sell things since I was a kid, so I'm just good at it. Two, because of the trauma I went through, like specific trauma, which we don't have to go into details about, I I think chaos is home, which then leads to my relationships stuff that I was in my past. Like all the relationships I was in was chaotic. They weren't fully in it. They weren't fully, it was a push and pull. They never really reassured me. They were really bad to me actually, but that felt to me like home, the comfort, because my brain is just wired that way from the trauma I went through. But now that I'm in recovery and everything, and I've been in recovery for a couple of years, like I would say like 4 years now. I it doesn't affect me anymore. Like now I let it out. So when someone calls me, like if I'm on a phone and someone says, "Fuck you, I don't want to talk to you, bitch." Right? Before I would be like, oh my God, I can't call anymore. You know what I mean? But now I hang up and I'm like, what a fucking cunt. Like I just say it out loud. I let it out into the world, into the air of no existence because no one's home. Or I write it to Chris sometimes. You know, when I was working at Glassbox, I'd really type it out to him. I'd be like, yo, this fucking blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. So that's the way, that's how I've coped with it.
I would literally just get, I might even be in a meeting or a call and I'd just get ping, 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 because she would type like one word at a time or in big capitals. And I would just like, I'd have to apologize to whoever's hearing this or put things on mute. My phone's like vibrating because it's also on my phone. And I would just message her like, Melis, stop. I'm in a meeting. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Please stop.
But you see, that wouldn't affect me. Like, for example, people think people with BPD are so sensitive. Like Chris saying, please stop. I'm in a meeting. I'll talk to you later. That's it. You told me. You regulated my emotions. I'm not going to say. If you said stop, I would be like... You know what I mean? But I think that's why me and Chris had a good relationship, because anytime he was stern with me or anytime he was like, hey, X, Y, and Z, he always told me why. Or he gave me like, hey, you're doing this right now. I need a second. I'll be back and we'll talk. So I just want to say to all the listeners, people with BPD are not fucked up. It's not that they're not normal people. It's not that they can't love. It's not that they can't be friends. They're great people. They love immensely. They're really wear their heart on their sleeve. It's just you really need to like explain to them why for certain things. That's it. And then they won't take it so personally.
A lot of people, if you just explain why you're doing something, can take it a lot better.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, very early on when I first met Melis, before I knew all of this, like I didn't hire her. She was hired onto my team. So I had to learn about who she was just like right off the bat. I remember one of my first phone calls with her just getting off. I'm like, man, that girl is eccentric. You know, she's in your face. She's ready to go. You know, first day, she's like, I want to learn. Well, here's all these questions. You know, she's loud. She's there. And I'm like, okay, you know, but she means well. But she seems like she's going to be a lot. And I remember before we started talking about these diagnoses and these disorders, I don't know if you remember this, but I had said something to you just like in our one-on-ones or a regular call, and we hung up the phone and you like called me back. I think you called me back on my cell phone. You were like, hey, Chris, you had said something that was bothering me or that I've just been thinking about over and over. Like, can we talk about that more? And I don't know if you remember this conversation, but that was like that was one of the times where I was like, okay, like I have to kind of explain, you know, so there's no misunderstanding or she doesn't think that like I'm beating her up about it or, you know, talking down to her about it. But I realized, I came to find out later on why that was, but that was just like one of the first things I realized about her, that it's not, hey, I need to baby you or anything, but hey, I need to be very clear about like why I'm saying these things or why I'm going down this path. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And that's probably why we have a great relationship now. Honestly, you have been in my life for a couple of years now, and I've been through things where I've had friends and friendships and stuff where people can't do that, and I've told them, you know, like with you read common sense. You were able to read a room, Chris. You were able to be like, damn, okay, she is this way, but if I do this, she's fine. Okay, that makes sense. Then I gotta approach her this way. But I've been to friends where I said, hey, listen, if you do X, Y, and Z, I just need an explanation or else I'll eat myself up alive. And people can't do it. And I realized that's where then love, care, human connection comes in. And I don't want those people in my life, right? No common sense, no care, and you just have you care. You care and you have common sense.
I loved a conversation that we had the other day where you had said to me, I've talked about this scenario to all of my friends, but now I need to talk to you about it because like I need to hear the real, the real advice.
What's gonna
And
actually help?
yeah, yeah, and I loved that. That was special to me. She was
Yeah.
like, I've talked to these people, and they told me one thing, but I know that that's just what I want to hear. Now you tell me, the real stuff.
I look at you not only as a mentor, but you are a really good friend of mine. Like your family, I view as like, I love your kids. I love Callie. Like, I know we do hang out when we can. I know because we don't live in the same city, but my goal is to come there and see you as much as I can too as time goes on, because I learned at this age that if you vibe with someone and someone does care and understands you, like you don't you get closer, you don't run away. You know what I mean? Like, so I do
Yeah,
value what you have
foster
to
those.
say. You are older than me. I mean, not by like 800 years, but I value what you have to say a
Close.
lot.
It's close to 800, but it's okay.
She did say so for Christmas. She went absolutely bonkers and bought my kids a shit ton of toys, which was very sweet of her. But I'm like, yeah, Mel. She's like, oh,
Unnecessary.
yeah, like you can get them one thing. She comes in, she got like each kid like 5, 6 things, and she goes, I want to be known as Auntie Melis. That's my
Yes, I
goal.
do.
Is that your kids know me as Auntie Melis, so I'm just gonna throw gifts at them.
Spoil them rotten.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to be an aunt. That's my
Ni-
life goal. I just want to be an aunt.
Nick, any questions around anything that we've talked about, whether it's mental health impacting work, or just BPD in general, for Melis, navigating borderline personality or anything along those lines?
Did did work ever make it harder to manage? Or like you said, is it your home because of the chaos?
Home because of the chaos. I figured out how to navigate it because I think because I was a functioning person. Like I don't know, I was good at
Mm.
my job and I would let it out in other ways, but I did realize this, right, as I age with this. If my life is not in order, then then my BPD is really bad. It's not work. Work is not the
Mm.
one that's doing it to me. So like if my life is fantastic and work sucks, like we were in Glassbox. I mean, my life was horrible at the time, but I'm just saying like if my life is chaotic and work is chaotic, work is not the one that's fucking up my BPD. It's my life. So if my life is
Hmm.
good, where no, I don't have anyone putting me down, and I have my good support system, and I'm supporting myself, I'm loving myself, I'm
Hmm.
working out, I'm moving my body, I'm positive. If I'm doing this and work is fucking crazy, where everyone's saying you suck, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
But if work is good and my life is chaotic, and my life people are saying you suck, then I
Yeah.
can't function.
No,
Mm.
that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to kind of wrap up this episode by talking about the other side of the coin, right? We've talked about managing BPD, mental health, and work. How about relationships? We've brought a lot of guests on to talk about, I'm sure that you have relationships in the past that have, maybe suffered or gone different ways because of this disorder. And we've had a lot of males come on, right? And they've talked about breakups and they've talked about custody and they've talked about divorce and all things like that. But we've actually never really had a female go into breakups and manipulation and just kind of rebuilding yourself around those relationships, and especially when it comes to something like BPD. Where does something like that, what's the weight that carries on having to open up outside? I think it's a segue of a work relationship into a real relationship, but how does that mental health aspect affect going into a relationship for you?
So it's interesting because in my past relationships, I feel like because I have this emptiness inside, that's right, that stems from feeling too much when I am feeling, and then when you're not feeling, you're like empty. So you have to fill it. So when I was young, I did start always filling it with guys, like with men. That's why I was
Mm.
always in a relationship and whatnot. And even if I didn't love them, even if I didn't like them, it was just like I felt like that was like giving me a purpose, right? Because I wasn't really digging deep into like who I am, what I want, and loving myself, right? That's something I struggled with a lot. And honestly, it's one relationship that really did the turning point for me. Was last relationship where I was, really in love with this person. But I did realize that how do you navigate it with BPD, as you asked, and how is manipulation fall in and everything? Like, because with BPD, you want human connection so much. Like, that's something that's also is a symptom of, like, most people with BPD want love, like, right? They just want someone. Um, I didn't see red flags at all. Like, even if this person was really bad to me, which they were, and they manipulated me and they used my disorder to get what they want, right? Like, I remember I would go in, I would come into a conversation. I would say, "Hey, I would like some more reassurance," right? Like, you don't really reassure me when I'm X, Y, and Z. Like, that's something that I need, right? It's my love language. But one, it's my love language. Two, like, I need that for my BPD. And I would come in doing that, and then that person would then say something mean to then make me cry, to make me get emotional in the BPD thing. And then I'm crying here now, really, like, depressed and sad. And then I would catch myself apologizing to him for my actions, but I didn't even do anything wrong. I was simply starting a conversation to just tell you what I need, like a basic need, not even anything else. Another thing with relationships I realized is, with that relationship specifically, is, yeah, you don't see the red flags. Like, you don't see the disrespect that they like he did to me. I didn't see that. Like, I would give so many chances. But now it's been way time out of it, and now I realize that, like, wow, like, I was so hungry for that human connection,
Mm-hmm.
but that human connection out of the whole relationship was maybe like 10 times. Like, the real connection, right? Like, or maybe 5 times in the beginning or something, but, like, as time went on, that there was no, like, I was on the connection. I was making it run, and he was just using me and manipulating me. So I realized that, and I then went into a spiral. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit too much, but I went into a spiral of researching
Okay.
BPD and relationships, and girls and guys, and what they go, and a lot of people do get like manipulated and used that have BPD by these narcissistic men or women. It depends if you're a female or male. But yeah, if a man or a female is a narcissist, they prey on people with BPD. That's a fact.
Is it because you have that desire, that because of the disorder, that you believe just love can fix and outweigh these red flags? Is that just kind of what carries you along, instead of, like, keep saying common sense? Common sense would say, maybe this is a bad situation for you, but because you have that longing and you have that kind of hole to fill, the void to fill, you think that just extra love will kind of outweigh what you're seeing. Is that true?
So yeah, something like that. What I realized when I did more, research and learning more about me, and with therapy and everything, I realized that the reason why I was so attracted to that person, or yeah, maybe it is love, but is because, like I said, chaos is home. So he didn't like always show me interest, right? He pulled away
Oh,
a lot. And that to me is like, oh my God, home, I need you, right? And it's a rewiring of brain. So when it was in the relationship, I'm like, I need this, and he's not doing it. To me, that means, like, oh my God, like, it's chaos. Like, and also another thing, you gotta accept someone not for potential, but for who they are right now. And I didn't know that. I really didn't, actually. I guess I was blinded by who he could be, or who I thought he was. But it also goes down to BPD, with that whole trauma, and thinking that that's home. But on top of it, there's another symptom of BPD, is your favorite person. You will usually have one person in your life that's your favorite person. Like, you put them on a pedestal. When that person's your favorite person, you don't see anything. They could beat you. They could literally beat you, and you would still think they're this amazing person. And it's really bad. I honestly, I think that's the worst symptom of it all, because when you're in it,
Yeah.
they'll do anything and everything and treat you like the worst garbage, and it's you think like you take it.
Nick, what's your take on this?
I was gonna ask, do you think because of your uh was it BPD,
Yeah.
does it make you anxiously attached to your partners, so where like if you don't get texts or um like you said any of that reassurance, that you just your anxiety, or like I found out that my attachment style was very unhealthy when I was like, oh, I get anxiously attached when these people don't text me back or they don't give me that reassurance, but I'm able to regulate that, right? Like I don't necessarily need your reassurance because I don't have this disorder. I'm everything's
Yeah.
talking. So do you find that like most of your relationships have that anxiously attached style because of this?
So yeah, my style is anxious. I am anxiously attached. I
Mm.
did. So one thing I did realize, I guess at a young age, that people don't like, especially an avoidant. Like you can't be like that.
No,
So if
avoidance, no.
so that previous relationship, he was a narcissist and an avoidant, 100%. So I wouldn't let them know it. So the thing is, I'm healthy in that way. So like if they're not texting me back, I do freak out, but I won't let them know I'm freaking out. So like I
Mm.
would go to my
Yeah.
sister, or I'm calling my friends, like, and I still struggle with that. So my right now my goal is to learn how to not regulate my own emotions and not have to call my
Hmm.
sister or my friends or my mom and be like, "Oh my god," you know? So I wouldn't let them know, but
Baby steps.
while I was in the relationship, because I do have therapy and I do have these things, and I learned to heal it in that specific relationship that I talked about, being with a narcissist, right? That's
Hmm.
avoidant. I realized that with my help, I realized that, okay, I'm anxious. How can I tell him what I need? Because at the end of the day, it takes two to tango, and I
Hmm.
get it. I am an anxious person, but if you chose to be my person, then you should know that I need reassurance. So when we
Hmm.
started being together, like when you start the relationship lasted 3 years. So like the first year, yeah, there was obstacles, but after then, like the anxious of the texts
You
and
should
stuff
be
went away.
wanting, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
it
you
went
should be wanting to. Oh, I get what you're saying. It just went away. Okay.
That went away, but I still needed reassurance though. I'm still
Hmm.
anxiously attached. So like, yeah, maybe when he doesn't text me, I don't freak out. But
But you're
I
not
did,
freaking out on him. You're freaking out. You're just not freaking out on him. Like, why didn't
yeah,
you text me? You're now texting Chris or your sister or
yeah, yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
Like, why isn't he texting me back? So no, yeah, I struggled with that so much.
yeah. I can see how from his side, because I also don't want to say narcissist and avoidance I mean everyone should work on themselves, but I don't know. I just feel like both people have to commit to doing compromising for each other, and if an
Hmm.
anxious person is not going
It's
to
a choice.
compromise and an avoidant isn't, it'll never work.
It's a choice at the end of the day. You're gonna choose to make your person as comfortable as possible. I mean, or you're not. And then if you're not, they're not your person. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I asked this question, Melis, coming from personal experience, right? I was in an unhealthy relationship that I stayed in for much longer than I should have, but the reasoning behind that was trying to make it work for kids. And I've seen this in women a lot, in friends that maybe they're not married, they don't have kids, they don't have a house together. Would you say that women often stay in an unhealthy relationship longer than men? And like, have you seen that in your life from your perspective? And if so, why do you think that is?
I think that is true, actually. I think what I really do now that I've been, because at first I thought like I was the only one because it's my BPD. Like I was like, oh my God, I have BPD. That's why like I stay so long or whatever. But now that I'm like, it sounds crazy, but on TikTok and research and doing all these things and Reddit and hearing from people that don't have BPD, girls, females, yeah, females do really ignore red flags more than men. Women do ignore disrespect more than men. women not ignore, but like they let it slide. Like they'll say it, like they'll be like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
didn't appreciate that you texted that girl, right? Can you please don't like you can't like or like I don't like that you're liking girls' stories, like girls that are half naked. Let's say a guy does that. You relay that message, say I don't like that, and then the guy says, "Yeah, I won't do it." Like, okay, I heard you, and then the guy keeps doing it. A girl will let that slide. Like a girl's not gonna break up with a guy for that. But now a guy like the moment you disrespect him, whatever his disrespect is, like it could be like something stupid, like don't touch this and you clean his something. I don't fucking know. Something even so stupid, they'll leave. But girls will I mean, I've noticed that girls really do take shit more than men do.
Yeah.
Where? Point me in those directions.
Give me those women. I don't know. I just I agree. Like I said, I did it myself. I was in an unhealthy relationship, but I have talked to, a lot of female friends about this where they, like I said, they don't have kids, they don't have houses, they don't have a lot of ties, but they'll endure more from a male and like I don't know. I've never quite wrapped my head around that. So I was looking for a female perspective.
You know, I honestly think this might be a reason. I sound so stupid. Okay, women get menstrual cycles. That shit fucking is painful. Two, we get our eyebrows waxed or threaded, and our chin and our upper lip, and we get waxed or lasered, and we actually do deal with a lot of physical pain better than men do. And I think there's a correlation. I didn't do research on this, but I think that because women really do endure pain, like a woman can like get a man into a Pilates class. Like I wish I did. I had all my exes and my current person in a Pilates class. Like they struggle and they don't like it. You know what I mean? Women endure pain even physically more than men do. And I think there's a correlation there. I don't know what it is, but I really do think there is.
The the rebuild that comes after, right? Like what is it like finding yourself again and moving forward? One of the things that I say is always forward, forward always. What's that like, for you for having BPD when you're able to see clarity and start that rebuild and start rediscovering yourself outside of your disorder?
So one is with self-love, right? Finding purpose and love within yourself. Whatever you're giving to that partner or those partners that you did, take it and 10 times it for yourself. Start thinking, I know it sounds selfish, but it's not, because unfortunately, I think because people with BPD really do love hard, or like I said, they have favorite persons, and it's like when they connect to someone, they're like latching on. They devalue themselves. So for me, what my next step was not devaluing myself and actually lifting myself up. So
Hmm.
that, yeah, that's basically it, and really giving myself grace and really taking the time to understand why I'm feeling things and who I am, what I like, what I don't like, and really standing like being grounded, right? Really being grounded and
Yeah.
not letting the disorder define me,
Yeah.
right? Because when you're in that
Yeah.
relationship with the narcissist or an avoidant, your BPD does define you because they make sure that BPD is defining you. Because they know if I make this person, this BPD defining this person, I could keep her small and I could use her, I could manipulate her. So yeah, it really opened my eyes, and now definitely I look differently towards relationships and friendships is more like a give and get, right? And you don't have to tell everyone everything. You don't have to open up to everyone fully. These are things that I'm learning. Like that's what the next step of healing is like for me.
Good. I love that. I love that. Nick, any last questions? Before we kind of close up here with Melis, whether it be anything around relationships, anxiety, mental health, BPD, sports, anything that we've talked about, before we kind of wrap this episode up here.
Did these relationships or your most recent teach you anything about yourself you didn't already know?
Um taught me that, this is going to sound crazy, that I do not have a drug problem. I do not have a drug problem. I do not have a drug problem. I am not an addict. Don't really care about drugs. Nope. That person at that time made me believe that to manipulate me into buying drugs, and made me like it was easier for them because they have the drug problem. It was easier for them to make sure it's me, to manipulate me to get it and do it with them so they're not alone, so they have a higher like a hand on me, if that makes sense. I know that sounds crazy, you don't know in details about it, but
Yeah.
definitely I'm going to say this for sure. People with BPD or self-worth, or that are struggling with anything with that, or bipolar, or anything where they have something, I would 100% say, if drugs are involved in the relationship and you were not already big into it, and someone else is making you do it more and you don't realize it, and they manipulate you into thinking, you don't have a drug problem. That's all I'm saying. Like, once you're out of it, you realize, like, wow, I really don't have a drug problem. You know what I mean? I know it sounds crazy.
Yes. You don't sound crazy.
You don't sound crazy. You always sound crazy, but you don't sound crazy here. Melis, this was wonderful. I really appreciate, the way that the conversation went. I think that sometimes the lines we cross, don't ruin us. So we talked about cross the line we crossed, going, from a work relationship to a friend relationship. Outside of that, I think it revealed a lot about who we were. I think it's amazing that you're in my life now. We talk about this all the time, but I know that healing is not linear, especially when people have different health issues, different disorders, different situations. Healing is just always about finding yourself, and like we've talked about before, rebuilding doesn't have to mean like you're starting from the bottom. I think that it's about growth, and it's about being wiser about who you are or the situation that you are. So, one, I want to thank you for being here and sharing your story. And I know that we could always have you on again to talk about so many things in further concept. I appreciate you, and I want you to, leave us with one thing for the audience. I always ask my guests to leave one thing for the audience, whether it's anything. It doesn't have to be BPD or mental health or relationship focused, but for your episode, leave us with one thing.
If you're gonna watch Star Wars, watch it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then add Mandalorian, Andor, and all those things. But if you don't really want to watch all of those movies and you really don't want to invest in it, you gotta watch just Revenge of the Sith and Mandalorian.
And Nick, your final words, sir.
I don't agree, but nice.
If any part of today's episode hit home, please share it with a friend. Tag us at CrodsPod on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok at CrodsPod, and help us keep this conversation going. Melis, is there anywhere that anybody can find you in terms of acting, or anything that you want to put out there for people to see your work?
Yeah, I have a website. It's literally www.melisyoruk. That is MELISYORUK.com. And if you really want to add me on Instagram, it's at Malice Noir, MALICENOIR. I am private, so I will be checking you out before I accept you. That's all I got to say.
We drop new episodes every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. We are live on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. If you have a story, a topic, or you just need a vent, please email us at crodspod@gmail.com. As always, we want to hear from you. We are here to talk to or talk for you. Our safe space is your outlet. And until next time, live fast, eat ass, or trust that rebuilding is still moving forward.
We're not perfect. Them demons watching, but they will not stop.